if you wanted to make a lot of money, you only needed two things: money to invest and the nerve to invest it. That's all you needed. You didn't need a lot of brains. You didn't need selectivity, caution, conservatism, discipline, patience, agility. All you needed was money and nerve. And if you had those things over the last 10 years, you've made a ton of money. Does that mean that money and nerve is the formula for success in the investment business? No, because if you had money and nerve in April of '07, you lost a lot of money. You bore the full brunt or more of the global financial crisis. Maybe you got knocked out of business. That's when you needed caution, conservatism, risk control, patience, selectivity, and discipline. So the point is, there are different tools for different climates, which is this: money and nerve today, caution and conservatism today. And Oaktree's mantra over the last several years has been move forward, but with caution. I don't think that asset prices are so high. I don't think the outlook is so bad that you should practice maximum defense. And the return for being in ultra-safe assets is unacceptably low, so for most of us. But on the other hand, I don't think that prices are low enough or the outlook is good enough to be practicing sheer aggression. I don't think there's any place for aggressiveness in today's market. So that's where we came up with this balance of move ahead, but with caution. We're investing every day. We're basically fully invested and trying to stay that way, but with a portfolio that is biased toward defense, not offense. Biased vis-a-vis our norm. So, how should you invest in a low return world? And I've come up with 6 possibilities. I put them up here, and I'm not aware that there are any others. Number 1, invest as you always have and expect your historic returns. Well, that's actually a fake, because nothing, in my opinion, offers the return that it historically has offered. So that's a red herring. I just want to make sure I had your attention. The second one, invest as you always have and settle for today's low returns. That's more like it. That's more realistic. That's more prudent. It's just not much fun. And for many organizations, it doesn't fit the business plan. The third is to reduce your risk to prepare for a market correction and accept still lower returns, and that's even less fun. The fourth is to go all the way towards defense, go to cash, accept a return closer to zero, and wait for a better environment to put that cash to work. That's very challenging because, going to cash is an extreme action for an active investor. And not only do you have to be right, but you have to be right quick. Because if it takes you 2 years to be right, you'll have dug a hole that if the market keeps going up in those 2 years and you were wrong to go to cash, you'll have dug a hole so deep you may never get out of it. And by the way, you may not have a shovel anymore because you may have lost your job. So that's number 4. Then there's number 5, which is to do the opposite, to take on more risk in the low return world in order to try to get the returns that you used to get with safety. That has obvious merits and demerits. And number 6 is to put more into what you would call special niches and special people. That is, bet more on alternatives, non-market, private, and hopefully skilled managers. Now, the important thing is that none of these alternatives is completely satisfactory. Every one has a downside, including number 6, because you go into special asset classes with what you believe are special managers, and you expose yourself to manage your risk. The risk that you thought you were finding somebody with alpha, but he or she actually turns out to have negative alpha and underperforms.
Stocks are struggling. Gold and silver are at all-time highs. Everyone's confused. So what should you do? Sell your stocks, hold cash until the market stops falling, or buy more? When stocks stop giving returns and commodities like gold and silver start hitting record highs, it creates panic. People start questioning everything. Did I make a mistake investing in stocks? Or should I move all my money into gold? Is this the beginning of a crash? This is exactly the kind of moment where emotions take over, and that's dangerous. When markets fall, fear rises. And when fear rises, people want certainty. Gold feels safe, cash feels comfortable, but comfort is not always profitable. Instead of trying to guess what will happen next, smart investors focus on positioning themselves intelligently. Ask yourself, are stocks falling because businesses are permanently damaged? Or are prices falling because sentiment is bad? Mark also says, the best opportunities come when others are unwilling to act. Most people buy when things look great. Few people buy when things look scary. But history shows that long-term wealth is created by buying quality assets when they are unpopular and not when they are trending. So what should you do? Should you sell everything and chase gold? Probably not. Should you sit in cash and wait for the perfect bottom? Good luck timing that. Or should you slowly, carefully accumulate good businesses when prices are reasonable? That's actually where long-term success lies. Howard Marks reminds us, being too far ahead of your time is indistinguishable from being wrong. So don't be reckless. Don't freeze either. This is the Howard Marks narrative. You don't win by predicting the future. You win by controlling your behavior, understanding cycles, and acting rationally when others are emotional. Markets move in cycles. Fear and greed repeat. Your job isn't to be dramatic. Your job is to be disciplined. If everyone is panicking, pause. If everyone is celebrating, be cautious. Because in investing, the real edge is not intelligence, it's temperament.